All right, we're live. Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pastor Jardula here. It's a beautiful day outside. I went Fiorella, and we're over. Jonny Tsunami's over there, and we're by Echo Park. It's voting day, fam. It's yes or no on the recall. We talked about Gavin Newsom yesterday. Obviously, I think the crowd knows we're going in to vote yes. Some of us don't know who we're voting for yet. I think I'm going to write in Daniel St. John. I think. I don't know. That's where I'm leaning towards. Kevin Pathrath is a no for me. Never got back to me for an interview. Want to know why he was running as a Democrat. I looked at Kevin Kiley, the Republican in San Diego. I immediately said no to Larry Elder. I'm sorry. Old school Larry Elder. I remember the guy from years ago. Never tickled my fancy. And just, you know what I'm saying. However, some people say, well, if you vote yes on the recall, you could have essentially put Larry Elder in there. Yeah, well, you know what? At least he's not for vaccine mandates and mask mandates, and he's not going to shut down small businesses. Gavin Newsom has already destroyed the fucking small businesses in California since he's taken over, as well as, you know, not help the homeless people that are on the street in the middle of a pandemic, as well as not putting proper money and funds towards forest fires and maintaining the woods out here. And we've had the second worst fires in history. So there's so many things. But today is the day we get to speak our mind, as if voting counts anyways, fam. What are the odds we go in there and they say you already voted? That's the question.
Yeah, I'm just like over the whole voting situation right now, because they've already rigged this election. I mean, from the envelopes to the drop-off boxes to the ballot harvesting to the fact that Gavin Newsom is funded by some of the most powerful people in this entire state. And I am just, you know, I'm not excited at all in any way, shape, or form about this. I think it's going to go this way. Gavin Newsom's going to win. Republicans are going to claim they cheated, because they did. And it's going to be like, yay, we defeated fascism. And we were able to elect somebody, keep somebody in there. And now next time we're going to elect a true progressive, even though that's not going to happen. And on and on and on and on and on and on it goes. And I'm just so fucking sick and tired of this whole charade, this whole facade. I'm ready to really like just be done with it all, the whole fucking system. I have no more patience for these people who are defending a neoliberal authoritarian fascist and trying to trade him to save him by saying that there's a right-wing fascist that's going to come and take away these mandates, because that's really what it's about, honestly. This whole time, Gavin Newsom has been campaigning on the mandates. He's been talking about how you know, they're sensible mandates to protect people from COVID and all these things. So honestly, for me, it's kind of a joke. I'm just doing it as a big fuck you to the establishment Democrats who have diametrically opposed any sort of progressive issue, and who I'm pretty much sick and tired of running the show. I don't really give a crap who wins. I'm not even sure yet who I'm voting for, but I'm voting third party for sure. I will not vote for a Democrat or a Republican. I saw that Rose McGowan endorsed Larry Elder. I love Rose McGowan. I wouldn't have endorsed Larry Elder. Yeah, no, he is part still of the two-party system. But this is just what I mean by the fact that the Democratic establishment and progressives now, who are part of that establishment, are pushing people to the right. They're pushing people away. So that's that. A lot of people have been saying they've been turned away. A lot of being told that they voted already when they hadn't. I mean, just hearing that video yesterday, Pasta, really irritated me, because nothing has changed. This literally just happened. This has been happening since 2016. Nothing's getting done about it at all. So for me, this is a fucking joke. It's a team sports football day where you get to pick your team and see which one wins, and nothing more. So I'm just so done with it. I'm so just
Well, Jackie McGowan contacted us yesterday. She wanted to get on the Convo Couch. She contacted us a little bit late, but she's a marijuana advocate. You know, she's trying to push for better marijuana laws in the states. She's also pro-Second Amendment. She's running as a Democrat, too, as well, even though she says she's more of an independent. But she was on the scoreboard when Steve Kornacki and MSNBC put up 6 candidates that were supposedly getting points. Larry Elder was in the lead of that, of course. But then you had Kevin Pathrath. You had Jackie McGowan. You had Kevin Kiley, who hit the scoreboard. So it's going to be interesting to see who does what. Johnny, you want to jump on here and do this? One of us go vote because we have a lunch in about 30 minutes.
You go vote.
I'll go vote.
You want to go? Fee's going first.
This is possible. So
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Well, try going without the ballot. See,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
some people have been reporting that you need to bring your ballots. So try going without it, and then if you need it, then come back.
Come back out, fam.
Okay. All right. So.
You want LAvote.net. I pulled
So
it
yeah,
up
the
here.
date is September 14th. If y'all don't know, voting centers are open. They've been open in LA County since at least the 9th, I believe. And then we're at Echo Park Recreation Center here. It's right next to the highway here. What's the highway? It's
That's
Hollywood
the
Highway.
101, right?
I think that's the 101. Yeah.
That's the 101.
So the 101's right there. The Echo Park Lake is right to our right. Your left, I guess. And this is the recreation center. So we haven't seen what it looks like inside. We're not allowed to film inside. You are, I think, I read the election laws that says you are allowed to film like your own your ballot. But you can take a picture.
Take a picture
I
of your
think
ballot.
I would take a picture of your ballot. So I think people are allowed to do that. They're not going to walk up to you. And I'm pretty sure that's in the election code. If you look up California election code, I don't know which number, but if you go on that website and then look up, it's like one of the 1500s, election code 1500 something. So yeah, there's that. So I just want to show everybody. Here, hold this.
You got it. Good luck, fam. Get that sticker. Show everybody you did your part. See that?
I want to show everybody. So there's like no parking. This is just like LA. There's like no parking. Like everyone's trying to pull in here, but there's no fucking parking. And again, on the streets, there's no parking. So the streets are full. This lot is full. A lot of people aren't going to be able to park. That's just LA being LA, right?
It is like a backdoor suppression of voting. People are going to drive by and like, there's no place to fucking park. I'm out. I can't do this.
Right. Okay, so right here, I'm going to show everybody that we have the return envelope that comes inside this envelope. So they send you this envelope that also has a hole in it. I didn't know that.
In the back,
In
yeah.
the back. So let me see that. Let's see if you can see that. Okay, so this is the return. This is the envelope they send you, right? And they put your vote by mail other envelope to send in and your ballot. So here's the envelope you send in, and you can see again the big stink that people have been making is that the holes are there. And apparently this has been a practice according to what's his name, Dean Logan, that this is normal. But I don't know. I wish I would have saved the last vote by mail ballot. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember if there were holes there. I feel like we would have noticed that. But there's 2 holes on the other side there. So if somebody puts it in, you can like shake the envelope and see if they voted yes, if they put it in the correct way. There's 2 holes on this side and then a hole on this side. And this was Pasta's ballot here. So I'm going to show you mine. I haven't opened mine, so I'm going to do a live opening right now.
Yep. So the funny thing about this too is Johnny should talk about also the ballot committee on choosing this ballots, because even though there's holes, this is a special election and you have a yes or no vote this time. So it's different than a regular ballot, right?
Okay. So right here's a good distance. Okay, so I'm going to open mine. This is mine. Was sent to the house. Live opening. I haven't fucked with anything.
Oh, your sticker.
I got the sticker, and we got the holes. All right, so we got the holes. It looks like it's an LA County thing because other counties don't have it. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But again, here's the envelope with the holes there. You can see that. What is the purpose of the holes? It's they said it was for disability. Like if you're blind, you sign next to the holes. But like there could have been something else.
Tinier holes or bump or braille.
Or something like.
And some counties don't have them because some counties are not made from K&H. Some are made from K&H. It's different vendors.
County, yeah, LA County's K&H. Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. I asked them. I emailed them about that. Who's the vendor for the recall election? He's like, he couldn't answer. You're gonna have to ask the Secretary of State for that. And I'm like,
you don't know who makes our ballots. You see what we're saying?
no, they know. It's just they don't want to tell me. They don't want to tell us. It's like you're the fucking election official in LA County, like, and you're telling me you don't know that. Shut the fuck up. You do know. Jeff Klein, Dean Logan, Mike Sanchez. You do know.
They know who makes the ballots. And also there's a committee, right? You were saying about as far as ballot development, right, that you can get on, and what happened with that whole situation.
Yeah, so I'll pull it up if you give me your phone. There's if you go to the Secretary of State website, secretaryofstate.ca.gov, and you look up Ballot Design Advisory Committee. Ballot Design Advisory Committee. So I'm going to look this up right now. Ballot Design Advisory Committee. And these are the people that come up with the design of the ballot. And I'm sure the design of the envelope in which the ballot goes into. So right here, you can see, if I'm on the page of the Ballot Design Advisory Committee, that's what it looks like, Ballot Design Advisory Committee. And you can see, I'm going to read something. They had meetings. They had a meeting on August 19th. When I first found out about it and I missed it, I was like, fuck, I wanted to be in that meeting. They have a link to the agenda, so it kind of like the outline of the meeting. And then it says a link to notes and minutes from past meetings. If you try to hit on this link, it doesn't work. If you go to the meeting minutes, you hit that link, it says not found. They're supposed to have that according to the Brown, I forgot what kind of thing it is. It's called the Brown something Act, to disclose public meetings in which public stuff is happening, right? So I'm going to read to you the members of this Ballot Design Advisory Committee. Appointed members serving since 2021. Annette Lim, Yolo County. Brian Ikenaga, Los Angeles County. Christopher Neubauer, Election Systems and Software, ESNS. ESNS. Dave Hines, K&H Election Services. David Magidson, Hearts Intercivic. That's a new. Wait, is that Heart?
The Hearts program is Smartmatic.
Smartmatic.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Smartmatic or another one, but the Heart is one of the main three. I think it's part of Smartmatic.
Hang Nguyen, Sacramento County. James Lasby, San Bernardino County. James White, Orange County. Jennifer Tagg, San Mateo County. Joanna Francica, Shasta County. John Gardner, Solano County. Darren Rea, Dominion Voting Systems. Karen Rea, Dominion Voting Systems. So you got Dominion, K&H, Heart, ESNS, Kathy Stiles, Stanislaus County, Kelly Sanders, Humboldt County, Liz Oviedo, Santa Clara County, Maria Valadez, Lake County, Marina Ortega, Merced County, Natalie Adana, Nevada County, Stephanie Hill, Tulare County, Stephanie A., Placer County, Travis Herbert, Contra Costa County, Victor Chevron Jr., Kings County, Whitney Quisenberry, Center for Civic Design. So this, what I just read to you, was the appointed members since 2021 of the Ballot Design Advisory Committee. And I reached out to the Ballot Design Advisory Committee. At the same time, I reached out to the LARCC, which is the Los Angeles Register Recorder's office. And I got a response from the LARCC with some important info. I'm going to go and watch the tabulation tonight. But I got no response from the Ballot Design Advisory Committee, which is the email they have here. And then I emailed both the Ballot Design Advisory Committee at sos.ca.gov, BDAC at sos.ca.gov, and Raina Miller, who is the contact for the Elections Division that they list here. So you can see that there, maybe. You can see that. And I contacted them and emailed them, and I got no response. So then I called, and the clerk tried to get me to talk to LARCC, and I'm like, I'm already talking to them. I was on the phone. And then she's like, what is this about? And I'm like, I'm curious if the Ballot Design Advisory Committee meeting was recorded, and I'm also want to know where the meeting notes are, because your link isn't working. And then she tried to get the person on the line. I think the person told him not to talk to me. And then she's like, yeah, you're going to have to just call Raina yourself. And I'm like, but she can't answer the email. You know what I'm saying? Like, she won't answer the email. She'll only talk on the phone. Yeah. So there's the thing. So I didn't follow up. I need to follow up still. I'm still going to follow up. I'm going to continue, because that's what the Convo Couch does. We sit on their asses. We're on their asses like fucking fire. Yeah. At a campfire.
The fact that there's a lack of transparency in the ballot development, and I can understand like K&H being in room, right? If they're going to be the printer that has the contract, which is something we should have other printing companies in there to get the best contract, the most transparent one. But why are all Dominion, ESNS, Hart, Smartmatic, why are these guys in the room? because they're securing their seat at the table that will use their software and their machines. They're multi-million-dollar companies that will get all these contracts, and that's why they're there. And they're not even trustworthy anyways, because we have a system that doesn't allow for for open source software. We have all proprietary software, and that's the scary thing. We should probably move a little bit this way. That's the scary thing when it comes to this situation, is that you already understand that the vendors and the corporations are running stuff, and then you go for transparency, because this is an important thing, right? How the ballots are designed. Jesus Christmas, we come from Florida. We can tell you. I mean, Johnny Young. I mean, oh my God, that Bush Gore thing. The ballot situation was out of hand. So it should be, like Cynthia McKinney said, it should be open to the public. The people need to be involved with every aspect of our voting, whether it comes to ballot design, mailing, tracking, voting, centers, machines, softwares, tabulations. No more consulting groups and private companies and outsourcing to these contractors that come in and do the counting and everything. We need ourselves to do it, the people. We need to do that, and that's what these hurdles we're seeing, what Johnny was talking about. It's just going to be another hurdle. And now, Alex Padilla on the way out made it harder for you to request more information on the poll booklets, right? So now you can't even understand with these poll booklets, you can't get any information on it. So you can't see if there's any validity to those poll booklets to make sure all those people that are in there are eligible, or they're just not fake people or real people or people who haven't moved. What's going to happen to their ballots? And that's the thing. If you have a poll booklet that hasn't been properly manicured, and you send out ballots to everybody like they did this time, you're just asking for trouble. They've already had problems with people going in to vote and saying you've already voted, and that's what you get when you have a mass mail-out ballot system. It's a broken system.
I want to ask some people how their experience was voting and stuff. So we're going to try and do that. At the same time, Fiorella's in there voting right now. This is the Echo Park Recreation Center we are at. Echo Park Lake is over here to our right, your left. Still fenced up. To prevent homeless people from being there.
That fence ain't coming down for a while. It's like at the White House.
Yeah, exactly. That fence has been up for a while now. It doesn't make any sense. So enjoy the park with this fucking fence. It feels like an outdoor jail. Feels like the backyard of a jail, right?
Yeah.
So we are here, and there was something else I wanted to talk about.
Trying to wave to some people, see if we can get them over. If they come out, maybe. You have the LA vote thing, I think. If you, I put it on my phone for you if you wanted it.
Okay, so yeah, I was just kind of wanted to talk about how so the voting system in 20.
In there, good, quick. Very easy. No doubt.
You want to talk? Nope. All right.
Thanks,
so.
Guys. Was it good in there? Easy? Quick? I'll talk to some people, tell them to come out and talk. When you know me, I'll get somebody to come on over. We'll see what they have to say, whatnot. Maybe get some up. I feel like I want to do like that whole thing, like when they're cheering people. Woo! All right, you go.
Isn't that electioneering?
Now that we're just cheering to vote, not election engineering if we're wearing a shirt and pushing for somebody else.
All right, so if you go to lavote.net, here's what it says. It says that there's a little pop-up if you go to lavote.net, and here's what it says. It says that make a plan to vote early, September 14th, California gubernatorial recall election. Our offices remain closed for walk-in services due to COVID-19 public health order. However, the Norwalk headquarters is available for voting. So they're saying their offices are closed, but what people don't know is that actually, if you want to be an election observer, you can go to any of those offices and view any process of the election that you want. So right now, there's a few places that you can go to. There's the Downey election center that you can go to. There's a Norwalk one. They said the Norwalk is open. And there's also where the vote by mail processing center is happening, and that is in Pomona, California. So it's really far. It's like an hour and a half from it's like an hour away from Los Angeles. And I just wanted to make that clear. I want to tell y'all that to vote in person has been open since September 4th, to the 13th.
Fiorella's coming out. I'm going on in.
Okay, so Fiorella's coming out. She's going to tell us her experience. We're going to see how it was. She's got her little sticker on, and we're going to see how it is. And thank you for joining us. This is Jonathan Mayorka here from the Convo Couch and True Rebel Network. Follow me on Twitter. I just posted a funny picture of AOC's fucking dress. I'm sure you all saw that, the Met Gala thing. And we also just posted a video. How was it, fam?
So, fams, I didn't show my mail-in ballot, so they didn't ask for it. She just asked for my first and last name, and she found me. And then I went in, and she gave me the paper that you put in the machine. Which machine is this? Is it the PMD? BMD. Well, no, it's a ballot marking device, but what's the company? Is it ESNS or I?
It's a bunch of different companies put together, a bunch of different contracts. I believe Smartmatic. Oh, they say the school made it, but like the software that runs on it is Smartmatic. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is the same one we used last time, and this in 2020 for both the primary and the general. I don't know what is worse, to vote in this machine that could easily be hacked and changed, or to actually take your ballot and drop it off, give it to somebody, and you don't know what happens to it. So honestly, I don't know which is worse. I think the worst thing you can do is drop it off at a drop box. I think at least if you take it in, there's more of a chain of custody. But anyway, I will share who I voted for. I voted for a lady named, the fuck's her name? She's a Green. Her name is Heather Collins. She's a Green Party candidate. But you have to look at the Green Party candidates because a lot of them are voting no on the recall. And I don't want to vote for somebody who's voting no on the recall. Some of the independents, they're all voting no on the recall. So I looked that up and I said, I'm not voting for somebody that's voting no on the recall. And all their reason is like, we can't allow a fascist to take over. And I'm like, what are you doing? So Heather was the only one that was a Green that said Gavin Newsom should be recalled. And she gave me excellent reasons why. Some of the reasons we went over in our last video, the 10 reasons why yes on the recall and why Gavin Newsom should be replaced. So that's the lady I voted for. She's a hairstylist in San Diego. She's probably not going to win, but I don't care because I had to say no to Newsom. So yeah, it was pretty simple, pretty easy. That's how they make it out to be. I did take a picture of my ballot once it was printed out. And then once you're done printing it out, it goes back in the machine. And then it says, good job. And then you get your sticker on the way out. And that's that. It seems so seamless, so easy. People are like, oh my God, I love this. It's so great. No more hanging chads, no more any of that stuff. But really, for me, it's like, I don't know what happens to that QR code or that ballot or anything after it goes away. I have no idea. There's no verification for me to, like, beside me looking at it and then it going back in the machine. What happens after? Who counts it? How it gets counted? All of that is completely kept off the public, which is a problem. Whereas in a place like Peru, where I was just at for their elections, humans count the ballots. They don't have machines count it. Humans count it. And there's a paper trail. So, yeah, that might be primitive by our standards. And they also have to show IDs by our standards. However, they have a better chain of custody. And they were able to keep Pedro Castillo using that system. So I just wanted to point that out, Johnny. And I don't know what else to say. I think he's going to win. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are disappointed with what Newsom has done in California.
But I mean the rigging aspect of it. That's why.
So let me clarify the rigging aspect just in case no one knows. So, okay, so in 2020, what we saw, there was like multiple methods of intentional negligence, I want to say. We had raised concerns about the printing machines that print the ballots. Also raised concerns about the registrar, the register, that has everybody's info and stuff on there. Because in 2016, we saw a documentary that said that people weren't being found in the registry. What's it called? Yeah. So they found your name. Yeah, the voter register. They found your name, right?
Yeah, they found mine. The thing is, I was a Democrat last time around. Now I'm an independent. I think maybe if you're a Republican in this election, those are the people that have been told when they come in that they already voted and they haven't voted. And it's been Republicans. It hasn't been Democrats or independents. The only reason I switched to a Democrat like 2 years ago was in order to be a delegate. And then they said I couldn't be a delegate because I had been a Green for too long. So then I switched it back to independent because the Greens are pissing me off too with their the same as PSL, the same as I don't want to be a member of any party. Like I'm an independent, period. End of story right now. And so so there was that. There's also the provisional ballots now that we played on yesterday's show. People are being given the provisional ballots, which we know. We went into the room where we couldn't film. Did you get any film from that room? No, we weren't allowed to film. They were literally over our shoulders, but I wanted to film so bad. An entire gigantic room full of these pink ballots. We call them placebo ballots because they never get counted. I mean, a very small percentage get counted. These private contractors get hired to count these ballots. These ballots need further verification. It could be anything from the signatures not matching to just something that they consider legible, illegible, to whatever reason they want to say that person didn't have a way to identify themselves, or that person voted in a place they shouldn't have voted. Whatever the case may be, those are why people are given these ballots. In one instance nearby in East LA, the people were given a provisional ballot and told it was the same as a regular ballot. It isn't. And they were given this ballot because the machines weren't working. So again, you're disenfranchising liberals, a lot of people of color, a lot of working class in East LA. And of course, this was for the primary where those people heavily in large numbers voted for Bernard Sanders. And so now it seemed like we wanted to go to a more Republican area, which, you know, we're in kind of a more progressive area. Echo Park is one of the more leftist progressive areas. Can't really say that that's a good thing in this instance, because that might definitely mean, you know, they're going to be okay with mandates, that they're going to be okay with keeping Gavin Newsom. I don't know. There's a few of us that are on the left that are very anti-mandate, but very few and far between, at least the ones that are vocal. So so there was that. There was the placebo ballots that were happening, the machines that weren't working, the people that were told they weren't registered when they were, and then, of course, were given a provisional ballot, and they called it a conditional ballot during the primary, which was essentially the same thing. They just changed the name depending on how people got it. So there was that. Then there was also, of course, the fact that these machines are owned by a private entity of another private entity, whether it's ESNS or Smartmatic. There's a code for the machines, and there's no actual audit. What there is a logic and accuracy test, which just shows you how well the machine is working. But the machine can be working really well, but what it can do is it can say, oh, this signature doesn't match. It can have the verification really, really high to where most signatures don't match, or it could have the verification set really low to where any signature matches, depending on what's convenient. But the most atrocious thing about these machines is that there is no way to verify what happens to your vote after you vote. For instance, I could vote for no on the recall and actually vote for somebody else, right? So say, oh, but I'm just going to vote for this candidate, because it's two separate things. You can vote yes or no for the recall, and then you can vote for another candidate that would replace it if the recall goes through. So there's that. So I could, let's say I vote no on the recall, and then vote for the YouTuber Democratic guy, and then I have no idea if my vote went that way. There's no way to know. And normally in most countries you have audits, you have some sort of verification process. We can't verify what happened. We can only put in our ballot, and that's that. And so what happens is that there is a very, very easy way for somebody to hack into these voting machines to change it. It's just coding. It's basic coding. We've interviewed multiple people who have said how easy it is to break in and just change the code. And that's via the machine. If you're not doing via the machine, what a lot of liberal areas have done is ballot harvesting, where he can go pick up a bunch of ballots from, say, a nursing home, right? Bring them in here and drop them off. But nobody knows what he does with those ballots from the time he grabs them or not. So ballot harvesting has been positioned as a right-wing attack, like the attacks on ballot harvesting, right? Oh, it's just a bunch of right-wingers trying to disenfranchise a bunch of working class people of color. However, ballot harvesting has zero chain of custody. Nobody knows where you drop those ballots off. There's supposed to be somebody overseeing that. That never happens. Somebody else can take that, then they transport it. We don't know what the chain of custody is. If I go in there as a volunteer and I grab 30 ballots, you don't know what I'm doing with those ballots. And so there is no chain of custody. Again, let's remember, there has to be a balance between accessibility and also the chain of custody, the security. Because if you don't have a balance and one's off, you are disenfranchising people, whether it's through the overzealous security or the lack of security in general, like too much access. I mean, imagine if everybody voted online. Sure, everybody could vote, but then where's the security, right? So it's those things you have to keep in mind when you're looking at election integrity that are very important.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned the chain of custody. I just spoke to somebody who said that they're a first-time voter and that they got a conditional ballot. Yeah, because they just registered. So you can vote, but then like they give you, if you're a first-time voter, it's the first time you register. It's they give you conditional ballot, which is like the same as the provisional ballot.
So
which
just to add on to that, Johnny, that reminds me exactly. In 2020, during the Bernie Sanders primary, they had been telling everybody, including the Bernie Sanders campaign, had been telling everybody, you don't need to register to vote. You can vote the day of without registering. You can register right there. It'll be fine. What they didn't tell people and what we were trying to warn people was that they're going to give you a conditional ballot, which is essentially the same as what he said, a provisional ballot. But the conditional ballot needs more authorization. It needs more verification. So it's the same thing as a provisional. There is no guarantee those will be counted at all whatsoever. It's going to end up in the same place, in the same room where we were at, where they hire people to verify these things according to whatever measures. And that's that. And those people, again, are paid contractors. They're not employees. They're people doing this for a paycheck. And so there's no way we can even take a picture of that process. We could go in the rooms, we could talk to them, but they just didn't really answer any of our questions. They just gave us a bunch of bullshit answers. And when you're giving somebody a conditional ballot and you tell them that it's the same as a regular ballot, you're lying to them. And these people may not do it maliciously. This is what they have been told from the Secretary of State, that it's the same thing. And in fact, if you go to the Secretary of State's website, it literally says the provisional ballot is the same thing as a regular ballot, when that is absolutely not the case. It's a literal complete different color. It's a completely different format. And they try to paint it as it's the same to keep people calm so they don't think like there's anything wrong. But it's not the same thing, because it needs to be verified. And there's there's a green. The green, when they're verifying these papers, means it went through. There's a red, there's a yellow. They go through these stages, and your provisional ballot or your conditional ballot may never make it to the end stage. In fact, most of the time it's not. During the Bernie 2016 primaries, hundreds of thousands of provisional ballots were never counted. Ballots that all favored Bernie Sanders. And this is why I get so pissed at the left. They haven't fixed this problem. And so you're whining about Trump and Republicans now, but this is what they did to Bernie Sanders too, and what they're going to do to your next favorite progressive when the time comes. And so, it's kind of like a gang sort of organization. It depends. Both parties cheat depending on what is convenient. We've seen it in 2000 with George Bush versus Al Gore, and now we saw it in the most recent, from 2015 to 2020. We've seen, at the very least, very, very suspect numbers, statistical and probabilities, like that don't happen. That absolutely do not happen. Delivery of a bunch of ballots, empty or full tubs of ballots. So we've seen all of this happen. And like, if you want people to trust in the system and trust in the process, you need to make it as transparent as possible. People are going to have questions, right? And that's normal. There's nothing wrong with people having questions, but then do something about it. People are always going to have questions if you continue maintaining the same thing. So
just to clarify and even clarify this point, right, where we're of the belief that pretty much the elections are rigged in the United States, and that comes from our investigations into the elections, right? So what we saw in 2020 and what we saw in 2016 and what we saw in the primary and the general in 2020. So basically in the primary, there's a lot of lack of transparency. There's no chain of custody, and there's proprietary software in all the tabulation systems and the ballot marking device systems in all aspects of the part in the LA elections. We've seen it. Proprietary software is private software that the public has no access to. Proprietary meaning that it's patented software, that a private company patented the software, and that nobody's really allowed to look into it except for that private company.
So your public elections are run by private software, right? Okay, and these private companies, there's private people working in them, and we don't know who they are. So your publicly funded elections are run privately. That is a problem, no matter what side of the aisle you are on, because this should be a completely public process like it is in most countries.
Yeah, so then the other issue that came up a lot was the vote by mail ballots, which a lot of countries don't ban absentee voting and vote by mail voting because it's very unsecure and the chain of custody is too difficult to even maintain. So that's the problem, and that's why what we demand is more transparency in our elections and getting rid of proprietary software and the tabulation machines and all aspects of the election. It should be open source software and software that anybody can take a look at. And it needs to be short too. That's another thing I add to it, because they can make this open source software and they can make it like 1,000 pages long. No, it can be done with like 5 pages of code or something. You know what I'm saying? It can be within 1 to 20 pages or something like that. It needs to be short so people can read it and understand it. And that's why when those bills come out that are 2,000 pages long or 500 pages long and that have so much shit, no one knows what's being passed. We don't have a democracy when fucking they're voting on a bill and they haven't even read the fucking bill. They haven't even read the whole entire bill. So that's another aspect of why, things are the way they are.
And blockchain-based technology would really do well with elections. If you want to keep the technological aspect of elections, for me, I'm more old school. I feel like basic paper would be great. But if you want to do both, if you want to have a paper trail and also embrace the technology, blockchain is the only way to go. And they're, in fact, promoting blockchain technology. The WHO is when it comes to vaccine passports. So why? Because you can't fake that. You can't fake a vaccine passport. It's the same kind of technology that's in like cryptocurrency. You have a wallet, you have a specific passcode. You can't fake that. It's one of the most secure things we could possibly use. Interestingly enough, they're using that technology for vaccine passports and not for elections. Kind of makes you wonder why they wouldn't use the most secure technology for elections, but why they would use it for something as authoritarian, to say the least, as vaccine passports. So that's something to keep in mind. I can't say too much of that on YouTube because we will get shut down, but we've talked about it. We broke it down on Rokfin. If you go there, our video on the WHO breakdown of this whole new attempt to pass vaccine passports all over the world. Now I hear that London is kind of backing off of it, but we'll see, or the UK. But back to the election. So that's a solution, blockchain-based type of security. Also, going back to pen and paper, also publicly counted elections, meaning since we don't have audits, and the audits we do have are 1% to 2% audits, which are done mostly by machines, and the machines don't do a great job because they're, like I said, the setting can be off. They should be publicly counted, verified, paper trail all the time, every election. People should be able to view the counting publicly. That would really quell people's suspicions about any sort of election fraud or anything like that. But it seems like neither party is actually interested, because there's a lot of people on the right that seem to be interested, but really like they still fall for the, China brought these ballots, and they hyper focus on that. Like, it's our country, our elections doing this, your own parties. And they, like I said, they're both involved. So it has to come from the people, and people have to focus on election fraud, because it's not voter fraud, it's election fraud.
You just had a good point about something. What were you just talking about before that?
Before what, the China thing?
Oh, okay, yeah. So they focus on the boogeyman on the right of the China thing, and then
left is Russia.
The left is Russia. They keep saying that, and then didn't they say that for the primary that they helped that, or something for like the last one? Russia was involved, and then now we need to watch out. But then then Biden won, so now they're like, oh yeah, no, it's fair. So then, well, my whole point is that if you've never been to your election office in whatever state or county you're in, you need to go and see for yourself how secure the process is. This is one of the anybody could go. You can go as an election observer, look up county clerk, or look up registrar recorder, look up elections in your county, and you can go and see for yourself how these elections are run. And once you start asking questions, you'll find out very quickly that there's going to be no answers to some of these questions. You're going to find out that there's a lack of transparency. I just spoke to this gentleman who said that he registered 2 weeks ago at the DMV, but he still wasn't in the rolls.
So they gave him a conditional?
So they gave him a conditional. But I asked him who he voted for. He said that he voted no on the recall. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but thanks for participating. It's not on us to say whatever. Yeah. But that's interesting that guy is going to have a conditional 2 weeks before the election. He said he was kind of annoyed by that. He was kind of bothered by that. Yeah. He's like, 2 weeks, But the person in the DMV, he said up until August 28th, you could register before.
Yeah, but you're still going to get the conditional.
Right. But if after the 28th, you get the conditional.
Oh, well, they were wrong. Oh, I guess.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago was about like the 1st or something, Yeah. So, or the 30th or whatever. Yeah. So it must have been like a couple days after, but maybe. But still, it's like, do we have the technology to update the fucking registry of the info and stuff? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take 2 weeks to do that. So, there you go.
Another thing that could be improved is what I see. I still kind of see it. It's a little better today. But there are a lot of like older people working the iPads. That should be the younger people working the iPads. The older people should be walking around. Yeah, there was like an older lady who was having issues. A younger lady was trying to help her. It's either have more training or have the younger people work the technology and have the older people do the lines and do other things that they could do, or like provide more training. Because sometimes, most of the time, they only provide like a day of training, if that. Yeah. Maybe 2, I think, at the last one.
Day of training or something.
Yeah. So the training sucks for them. We had somebody that we interviewed too with the manual last time around, and they were given really shitty training. They were told all these things that were not true, or that the day of they didn't really follow through. There's also biases. There's always going to be some sort of bias from people in general, but like you have to have enough representation. That's one thing that in Peru they were like trying to say there was a bias, but really they're very careful about that. You can't have like a bunch of like liberals only. Like you have to have like a balance. I think that's actually would make people feel better as to whatever the case may be, as to who was in charge of the election, so they don't scream like, oh, this person is taking ballots or doing something or whatever. So I I don't know. Like I said earlier in the stream, I don't have any faith in our election system because of all the reasons we just went through. Because Gavin Newsom is a very powerful man from a very powerful dynasty, and I think enough progressives swallowed the Kool-Aid to help him, to save him. So rigging or not, I really do think he's going to win. However, I do think there are a lot more people that are upset with him than it seems. The loudest voices right now are the California Democratic Party, but there are a lot of people who aren't political who really don't like him. They may not come out and vote necessarily, but they really don't like him, and they have been telling us about it. I've spoken to people who work in the restaurant industry, and really what Gavin Newsom did is like ruin a lot of it. And I've heard complaints from him from people who work in the restaurant industry who are usually Democrat. So he's pissed off a lot of people across like the aisle. So it's not just, Republicans he's pissed off. It's also like Democrats and independents and a bunch of people. We'll see how strong the campaign was for, the left to save him from the fascist boogeyman. We'll see.
The largest voting bloc, fam, are the non-voters and the independent voters. And during the pandemic, everybody was staying home and more people were watching some alternative media on YouTube, perhaps. And where the hell is pasta? So I think the largest voting bloc is definitely independents and non-voters. Outside of the Democratic and Republicans, that's the largest voting base. And you're gonna see, how do they feel about the conditions here? How do they feel about the lockdowns? How do they feel as a small business owner who got fucked out of owning a business during this pandemic? How do they feel about missing out on those PPP loans? It's gonna come down to that, and people are pissed off enough, which a lot of people are, and enough people are on unemployment. We're gonna see a big numbers come out. It's a numbers game too, because they can only switch it up so much. That's why I'm definitely going to be watching the 1% manual tally, and I'm definitely going to be asking a bunch of fucking questions, because the 1% manual tally is bullshit. They need to get let me tell you about the 1% manual tally. So after the votes are in, they do the 1% manual tally. So they get 1% of the vote, and they manually check it. Why is it 1%? That's only according to a state law, that they only need to do 1% of the fucking tally of the vote. So, and that's in LA County. And, there's millions of votes here. So, I mean, it's a decent amount, but it's not representative of the whole population or of the whole machine, right? Of what's counted. And they could easily, pick it. So basically what's going to happen is that the election official is going to pick a certain amount of ballots from a precinct, and then vote by mail ballots and in-person ballots, the BMD, ballot marking device ballots, and also provisional and conditional ballots. And they run all the ballots through the tabulation machine, which, if you've seen our videos, if you look up the Convo Couch tally, look up Convo Couch tally room, you'll see what the machines look like when they allowed me to film. Now I got an email saying that we're not allowed to film in the rooms anymore, and there's no law, but they can kick me out for the day if I film, if I don't follow their made up rules on the spot. And they say it's for safety and for COVID purposes and stuff. So that's that. And so the way it works is that they get these ballots, BMD, vote by mail, conditional, and provisional ballots, and they check all those, a 1% manual tally of the millions of votes in LA County, and they hand count it. So it's 3 rooms. The last time I went, which was for the November general election, it was 3 rooms, and they were checking, certain races and stuff like that. But for this one, I guess they'll only be checking Newsom, the 2 questions, right? So there's 3 rooms, and there's 4 tables of 3 people. One person's reading what's on the ballot, yes, and then the name, yes or no, and then the name. The other 2 people are marking on a sheet that has the race and the stuff, and they mark 1, 2, 3 yes, okay, or if they say no, then they mark 1 for the no, and then they do the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the slash across, right? So that's the tally. They manually tally. and then they check those manual tallies with the computer-generated results. I mean, the machine-generated results. And that's the results that come from the tabulation machines, which are not supposed to be running until 8 p.m. election night. So, according to election code 15101B of the California election codes. So, what we're going to see, and what I'm going to see in there is I'm going to try and be there as long as I can to see if there's any fugazi shit happening, right? Do they have the machine-generated tally report before they have the manual tally report? Because what happened last time is that they got all the manual votes down, and then they came out of nowhere with the machine-generated report, and I'm like, so the machine-generated report should be ready immediately, like pretty fast, and it wasn't ready fast or immediately. Instead, they waited till the end of the manual tally count to then be like, oh yeah, they match up with whatever error or whatever. So that's what needs to be done. I'm going to be, checking it out. I'm going to be making sure it's all good and secure. So now we're waiting on pasta. We have a small parking lot here. We are in Echo Park. Echo Park to my right, to your left over there. 101 highway over here to the right. Your right, my left. And people are voting. Oh, here comes pasta.
They had an issue with my ballot.
They had an issue with your ballot.
They called headquarters and they found out that it was... Do you have my phone too by any chance? Because I got a call.
Yeah, I've been texting. He's watching the show.
Cool. So I went in there. You going to go vote, Johnny? Yeah. Go in there before that line gets any bigger. So I'm going to tell you guys what happened to me real quick. I went into the vote, got my ballot, said I don't want the mail-in, found it. She spelled my name wrong, so when she turned the screen to me, I said, no, you spelled it wrong. She got it, got my ballot. Then I went to go ballot. It kept doing my vote. The kid said, your ballot is empty. Your ballot is empty. Christina, the lead, comes over. She says, let me try to help it, tries to figure it out. It keeps on asking her to prompt the precinct number. So she's calling. No problem. So eventually she finds out that the QR code is not at the top of the ballot where it belongs. It went through the printer wrong, went back, changed it, got it through properly, and then I was able to vote 1, 2, 3. So it should be really quickly. Once you get in there, it should take less than 5 minutes once you get signed in and everything. It's about a 7-minute line right now to get in, so it's not awful. And breaking news, Pasta Jardula has voted yes on the recall and has voted for Danielle St. John. I wrote her in. Jacqueline McGowan was a close second I thought about. I only had a short time with her. Had I had a little bit more time than with her, maybe I would have got some more questions answered and found out a little bit more about her. She was a strong choice, but she ran as a Democrat. And independent Green candidate Danielle St. John is who I voted for. And the reason why was just one issue, that she wants to take back our resources, meaning food. And that's very important to her. She even talks about food bombing on the side of the road. Anywhere there's grass, that you should throw a food bomb and have food grow. So homeless people can use it. Anybody can grab it. And that's one of the resources she's talked about taking back. So that's why I voted for her. Also, she's, a big civil liberties person. So, yeah, that's what I did. Johnny, go vote. I didn't get a sticker. Sucks. So I voted for Danielle St. John. I don't want a sticker. I voted for fucking... You voted. No one cares. You're a fucking adult. All right. So, glad you did your fucking whatever. But anyways, yeah, I voted for Danielle St. John. Third place for me was Kevin Kiley. I thought about him. I took a look at him. He was a Republican, and I've never voted for a Republican yet. So that would have been interesting. And fourth place, I would say it's probably Kevin Pathrat. But like I said, he didn't do an interview with us. I wanted to do an interview with him. I wanted to know why he was running as a Democrat. But anyways, that was my top 4, and I made the choice, and I wrote in Danielle St. John. So that was my voting experience. Johnny's going to go in there now and then come out and vote. There is an exit poll out over there. Did you do the exit poll? It's right there. You should do it if you want. It takes literally, it's right there, that table. Literally 60 seconds. So they are taking exit polls here today, which is something I like. It's funny because I would like to take my own exit polls and then match them up later and see how close they are. Stuff. So anyways, my man, you want to talk about your voting experience? We're on a live stream. It's just an independent show called the Convo Couch. Yeah, come on over and talk about it. And nobody joined in today. So, see what's going on. I actually thought you were a friend of mine from old school that I hadn't seen in a while. I was like, is that you, Larry? And then you pulled down your mask. That's not fucking Larry. Not Larry. What's your name, dog?
I'm Buck.
Buck, I'm Pasta. Nice to meet you. Pasta. This is Buck.
What's going on?
How you microphone there. So, Buck, tell us what's going on, what you did today.
So basically, I was just coming out and making sure that my voice was heard. You know, we're lucky we're in a place in the world where we actually have that opportunity, you know, and a lot of people, including close friends of mine, I'm sure people you know, just don't have the simple ability to have a say in anything. You know, it's just nice to feel like your voice is heard, no matter what your opinion is, if you're hardcore left, hardcore right, whatever. The fact that you're coming out and showing up because that's what you believe and you want to see some change, I think that's important. You know, I just think post-COVID, everyone right now really needs to stay close and just, you know, remember that things were really bad and can get really bad. Yeah. So it's just important to hold on to what's important to you, which is family and health and longevity. And that's why I came out today, you know.
That's awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about who and what you voted for, or maybe some of the topics? You can keep your voting to yourself. I'm open about my vote. You know, I voted yes, and I wrote in a candidate named Danielle St. Job because she's about civil liberties and actually taking our food back, really resourceful. That was the reason I made a decision to vote against Gavin Newsom today. Do you want to discuss what you did today, or do you want to keep it to yourself?
I would love to, but just because of my job, I really can't, and it would cause some friction, but I absolutely agree with what you're saying and can definitely see why that would make sense for a lot of people.
Okay, so let's talk about issues then. What issue was most important to you on the ballot today? Because for me, it was about the homelessness situation right across the street.
That was by far my most concerning issue, especially for myself, because I was homeless myself years ago, you know, and I was a part of the oxy epidemic, you know, when I was young, and then it turned into heroin. By the time I was 21, you know, I got sober, I kicked it, but it was because I wanted something different and I was willing to make some changes. And in making those changes and through sobriety, I was really lucky and I had the ability to live a really beautiful life. But I had to put in the work and do a lot more than other people were willing to do in order to be happy. Yeah. So when I see a lot of people who are capable, you know, just not doing anything and they're totally fine with that, I have an issue with it. You know, it's one thing if someone truly is a vet, you know, and they're not getting the health care they need or the antidepressants or the therapy and they're not dealing with what they have, that's one thing. But, you know, when you see someone who's 25, 26 walking around completely capable, you know, in decent shape, you know, just put the sign out when there's plenty of job opportunity and plenty of free places where you can go, you know, to stay, to get back on your feet. I mean, I just don't understand that. So definitely clearing this out and making it a safer place, not just for families, but also just aesthetically, you know, like growing up, I used to love riding those little boats and walking around with my dad. And, you know, it's nice to see that things are starting to change. And I heard the boardwalk in Venice, you know, it started to change too. And that's not essentially the next Skid Row. I hear it's cleared up, but I'm not sure how consistent that's going to be and how long it's going to last.
You're a very independent cat here because you've been to hell and back. That's the name of the show we do on Thursdays, and we talk about the opioid pandemic or the epidemic, the ending thing, whatnot. 75,000 people in 2019 died. In 2020, they're thinking it's going to be over 100,000. You've actually turned, you said, to heroin on the streets and stuff. How did you make it back? Because here's what I'm also hearing from you, too, is individual responsibility. So I'm hearing like, okay, we have this issue. We have the situation with the opioid situation. You've been there. You made it back. But you also took individual responsibility into your own hands. So that's why I see like a mixture of the two. Actually, what you told me about when we were kind of keeping quiet about your vote, but understanding it and stuff. So what is your thoughts on the homeless problem? What could we do to fix that problem? If Buck was running shit today, what would he do?
That's a big question. Well, the first thing that I would do is I would make sure that everyone has the opportunity to go to treatment. You know, they have Medi-Cal, but for the places that are available, specifically in Los Angeles, that are Medi-Cal, are places like Tarzana Treatment Center, which are essentially run the same as, county jail, where it's the same thing. There's prison politics. So if someone's coming off or detoxing in there, they're not going to feel comfortable because there's still gang enhancements in there and intimidation and people trying to act tough when other people are trying to get well. So I would definitely create a few different safe environments for people who are struggling with addiction, who want help and want to do that in a safe place, and know that there's other people around them that want the same thing. Not just people around them waiting to detox for a couple days or hiding because of a case that they did or a robbery or something, and just being in a place because HIPAA can't verify that they were there. So they're obviously going to check in there, get a bed, and be safe for a few days, and then skip town and then go to the next thing. So you really want to be surrounded by people that want the same thing as you and people that are going to elevate you. And I know that there's people out there that want it, and it got to the point for me where I'm lucky, I have a great family. We're not wealthy at all. During the recession, my dad had to move to Canada just to get a job. We lost everything, just like little cars, a 98 Honda Accord, things like that. I mean, we ate a lot of shit, and I lived in New Zealand for 7 years, so I have citizenship in the Commonwealth. So just in regards to the healthcare and the other things that are readily available to people, it's just surprising that, as a superpower being America itself, people can argue that, but we should have more options, and there's so much money spent in other areas which just do not make sense in my opinion.
So you're saying like allocate resources for therapy. Let's help this out from the state level. Let's provide the mental health and the sessions for therapy for people to get help when they need help. Also a safe environment because it's so congested where you got people who are still kind of like being angry and thuggish and some other people. So we don't have a system where it's
right. They're institutionalized. So for the people who are institutionalized, that's fine, but you can break that habit. But then you'll see people, at meetings or wherever that are still doing burpees outside of the meeting and trying to act tough and like scare some 17-year-old kid who just got hooked on Oxy or is starting to do fentanyl, and it's going to push him away from whatever that meeting, that support group, because he's seeing these types of people. So I just think there needs to be more places, not just in the therapeutic setting, but a place where people can go and detox safely, and where they're going to have the help that they need, whether it's volunteers, but also there needs to be some sort of nurse practitioner and not just volunteers on hand, because a lot of these people are coming off of benzodiazepines, fentanyl, things like that, and coming off of that, just like alcohol, you can go into DTs and completely die from that withdrawal. Heroin, fentanyl might feel like you're going to die from those withdrawals, but you will not. But coming off of Xanax, Klonopin, any benzodiazepine or alcohol, like my dad's brothers and stuff, instantly. People don't realize that you can die from withdrawals. People don't understand that.
All right, so let's stick on this subject and I'll get you out of here. I know I'm holding you for a long time and having such an intriguing conversation. So you understand the whole opioid situation when it comes to Big Pharma. What role does Big Pharma play when it comes to this opioid addiction? Is the Sackler family, the Purdue family, fucking Johnson & Johnson even got in the fucking act? What responsibility do they have?
They have, I would say, 95% of the responsibility, just because they marketed this miracle drug, Oxycontin, as something which was non-addictive, which was going to change people's lives. And what happened is they were just providing synthetic heroin, essentially, in a pill form, and people didn't know that they were strung out. And when their script ran out, 72-year-old Joey Smalls, living in the Appalachians.
And then what do you got to do?
You got to go down to the hood and you got to buy some dope because you have 2 kids and you have a mortgage, and now you have these guys who are full-blown heroin addicts. And what they did is they changed the whole chemical compound of Oxycontin back in the day. In 2009, I believe, the OC80s, which were all over the world, they were charging $1 a milligram on the East Coast for them. People were so addicted to them, they were doing whatever they could to get them. The second they got rid of that pill, it still existed, but you couldn't take the coating off anymore. You couldn't shoot it. You couldn't smoke it. You couldn't snort it. All you can do is take it orally, so it wouldn't get you high anymore like people were used to. They wanted that immediate rush. And even if you took it orally, it maybe would get you well if you had a habit, but you're not going to feel the euphoria that people were trying to get from the oxy. So what happened was, the second they did that, they completely changed the whole game. They created all these people who were scared of heroin and were like, no, I do pills. Even the people who are doing it recreationally, they're like, oh, I would never do heroin. All became heroin addicts.
Yeah.
All hepatitis C, and then now fentanyl, just more analogs.
Yeah. So they were obviously trying to do something Nancy Reagan-ish, just say no bullshit, who doesn't understand the fucking situation, and they made it worse. Right. So I'm going to get a little deep on your buck, and don't answer if you can, because I don't want to get in trouble with your work and stuff. The same companies that cause the opium fucking situation and crisis are the same ones that are in charge of giving the jab. As a person who doesn't trust Big Pharma then, why should I trust Big Pharma now?
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with that, I mean, in the time frame, too, as well, that was put together, it's just jarring, to say the least. My aunt, who's passed away, she had cerebral palsy, and they actually proved that it was because of the polio vaccine at the time, which started causing gamma globulin, which in turn made her sick and come out handicapped. So that's proven just in the polio vaccine. This is a different strain, something different now, and people, it's morphing, it's changing. Okay, the media is constantly having an opinion. There's a lot of facts out there, and there's also, a lot of stuff which is hard to even get into because you want to be explosive, but at the same standpoint, I think, in my opinion, I didn't think it was going to be ready for a year and a half, 2 years at best. I didn't
think it would be ready for fucking 10 years. That's a normal time.
I was very surprised, and hopefully it helps people, and the people who are doing it are great and healthy.
It's hard to trust those same fucking people who did those things. Absolutely. Buck, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Let me give you my information so you can check out the show. Absolutely. I'm going to have Johnny come on and kind of finish on out, and he'll talk about his experience. This is one of my partners, John. That's my other partner, Fee. This is Buck. Hey, man. Thank you so much, brother, and
nice meeting you, man.
Good luck. Keep fighting the fight. I'm glad you made it to hell and back, brother. So that's it. Come on in here, brother. Talk about this experience. You got out and in out in 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Buck.
All right. So it was pretty good. They had I'm going to talk about my whole experience. Okay. So I walk up. There's a person there at the line, kind of making sure you're in the spot, right? The sticker spot.
Yeah.
I was out of it. He was like, social distance, please. I'm like, okay, sure. So there's that. I did see I'm seeing a lot of Hispanic people voting right now. So that's interesting. What else? Okay, so you walk in, there's a table, it has hand sanitizer and some info. They have vaccine information, so I got one of those just to see what they say. They have vaccination sites on there. I kind of want to go to one of these vaccination sites. Anyways, that's for another story and another segment for us. You know me, I like to be in the places. So they also had newspapers there, and then other information, and then you walk in towards the gymnasium, and it's the gymnasium where they play basketball and stuff here in Echo Park. And they direct you. There's one guy there at the entrance of the gymnasium. Okay, you ready? Okay, go see that lady over there at the table. There's these ladies there that have the tablets that have the registry on there. So she asked me for my last name, my first name, the street address.
The 3 letters and shit.
Yeah, and they only do 3 letters. So that's how they train them. So last name, they only do my last name, Mayorka, M-A-Y, and then first name was J-O-N, and then, you know what I'm saying? And then the street name, which I'm not going to reveal. And then they only do the first 3 of each thing. So then you get either you're in the system or you're not. So I was in the system. Fiorella was in the system. You were in the system?
I was in the system.
Okay, you were in the system. As I was waiting for that, some dude came up with next to me to the lady at the table with his ballot after he already been at the ballot marking device. Because what happens is once you go vote, you put in your thing, and then it prints it on there, and then it comes out. It spits it out.
Let you look at it.
The tablet takes a second or two to load up, and then it's like say yes to cast a ballot. But it takes a second or two, so people who are quicker will be like, oh, they take it out. They're like, oh, okay, I guess that's it. And then they walk out with the ballot. Yeah. They might walk out with the ballot, but thankfully this guy went to the table, and she told him to put the ballot back in. And then when people do that, sometimes the printer the printing machine can get fucked up. So I asked them how many machines are broken today. They said 3.
Yeah.
So 3 broke. Okay, so then I'm at the registry lady, and she verifies my information. I give my ballot. It has a special QR code and my voter ID and stuff on there. And then you go to the BMD, ballot marking device situation there, and that's how it works. So then that's where you go and you cast your vote. Okay, so here's what I want to say. All right, so the first question, yes or no, you vote yes or no. Second question, okay, pops up, and then there's a little pop-up. Make sure to hit the more button. So they added that because that wasn't there before. I remember when they first did the system, so they added that, so that's okay. And then, so I went to go vote for my person. I voted for the same person that Heather Collins, that Fee voted for, but Larry Elders, I just want to say, in my experience, was 9 pages down, just to let people know. I know I've been hearing that people have been saying that 8 pages down, but yeah, mine was, I had to hit the button 9 times to get down.
They're supposed to be mixed in different areas. They're supposed to be all randomized.
So I'm just giving my experience of what I saw here at this ballot marking device. It was 9 pages down.
Mine was at the very bottom, write-in, so the write-in's part.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh, really?
Then I was able to type in Daniel St. John and post it through. So
yeah, so then I found my person at the very bottom, Heather Collins at the very bottom, voted yes. Okay, it does the thing, it prints it, so it's kind of cool. But then at the same time, it's like this whole process. A lot of people are confused about it. One of the election workers said that it's been happening a lot today, that people are unsure about how the whole thing works, and they're quick to take the ballot out when you're supposed to leave it there, and then you say yes, cast a ballot. That's right, because it comes out, it spits it out, so you see it's printed on there. Voted yes, voted Heather Collins, and then you're supposed to just click yes on the tablet, and then it takes it back in, and then it goes down into the box, and there's a bunch of ballots there, and that's how it works. Okay, so then I got done. The lady was there. She gave me my sticker. I asked her about how many of those machines broke. She said 3, and yeah, so that's what that happened. And then I talked to, as I was exiting, I saw that there was a drop-off station for the people that want to drop off their mail-in ballots, and I asked that guy, I asked him a couple questions. I was asking him, how long he's worked. So this gentleman worked 3 election seasons, so all through 2020, the 2020 primary, the general, and this one.
the lead, Christina, the one who had to come help me, first time ever, and she's the lead. I said, they made you the lead? She goes, yeah, I know. And I'm like, what do you know about elections? She goes, I'm still learning and stuff. And she was the lead. Now, don't get me wrong. She's a social worker, she told me, and she handled the situation pretty good. She was very apologetic for the wait I had, about a 15-minute extra wait because they were trying to resolve the situation, just to find out that they didn't have the ballot printed properly because the QR code had to be on the top. But it was kind of interesting to have her as the first time being the lead. And that's kind of a reoccurring situation in LA where we have people who are inexperienced with the lead. Because there was another dude who was waiting for her to get finished with me, so he had to wait 15 minutes. And it's a good thing that it just didn't congest a bunch of stuff up. But those are the situations. There was nobody here from the software company, from the machines. God forbid they go down, or I didn't a technician.
I'm sure there's a tech. Well, there's a tech that goes around all the spots.
See all the spots, but he's not here on the spot. So.
Okay, yeah. I asked the guy at the drop-off ballot place how long his training was, and it was 4 hours via Zoom. One day. 4 hours via Zoom.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's pretty much the experience. I walked out, and there's some people doing exit polling, so I'm going to go do that. And but that's pretty much it. We're here, the Convo Couch on the ground, at an election spot here, Echo Park, to our right, your left, 101 to your right, our left.
Do the exit poll, come back. I'm going to talk to Phoenix real quick. We'll get him on, and you'll be back. It's so short. Phoenix, get over here, man. What's going on? We got a special guest coming over here. Look at that. Oh, man, Glory Jones. Look at this man wearing the last Airbender, Glory Jones. What's up, baby? How you doing today?
Just same old, man. I just want to say shout out to the couch, man, and you guys do great work over here. You know what I mean? And it's good just seeing people be objective, because so many times when you speak the truth and you have a mind for yourself, You know, you're labeled crazy, you're labeled all these things, and so, you know, it's good to just see a channel in the community, you know, coming out. And I've been watching you guys. I know you guys just had the protest Saturday and all that good shit, man. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, man. Listen, we came back to the scene of the crime over here is Echo Park. Yeah. This is where you spoke. Why don't you tell us a little bit, get us up to date about what's going on over here, what happened with the community, where you're at now, and what you're doing, that kind of thing, because you spoke very passionately over there. That's when I first met you, was speaking at Echo Park, and I was like, wow. Give us a little up to date what's going on to what happened over here.
So as far as I know with the park, they are leaving the fences up. As far as the community over there, I know a lot of people are scattered. You know what I'm saying? So,
have you spoke to any of them, the group that you were with talking that day?
I talked to a few since then. I'm no longer with Attack. I mean, we had spoke about that. I'm not gonna get too much. There were things going on. Yeah. People were trying to assassinate my character. So ultimately, I left that group. So right now, I'm actually currently back out in a tent right now. The housing I was staying at, they're trying to force the vaccinations.
Say that again. You're staying at housing and they're trying to do what?
Trying to force the vaccinations.
So you said, hell no, we won't go.
No, and it, you know, it gets to a point where, you know, housing is important, but when you have to be a guinea pig to get a sense of housing, you're having 7 o'clock curfews. I mean, I had a lady tell me I needed a hall pass just to go do anything, basically. Yeah. And it's like, you can't, at some point you got to stand your ground. Yeah. You got to stand your fucking ground and just say, listen, this is not worth all this. Yeah. You know, and going back to what you guys have been saying about, you know, the vaccines and everything, they're just going to keep piling on and it's a vaccine today, then you're going to need 5 jabs tomorrow, then you're going to need a pill. Yeah. They're already talking about with I believe was the Moderna strain, you're going to need a pill, you're going to need this, that, and the fucking third. So it's like at one point, is enough going to be enough? Yeah, yeah. You know, and just discussing, you know, you look at these 3 companies that are pushing this shit. Yeah. They all have lawsuits out the ass, man. You know what I'm saying? You have Johnson & Johnson that's putting metals and all types of other shit in babies.
Asbestos in their talcum powder. Giving people mesothelioma, getting caught and still doing it, not caring because they're in Africa and they know they can get away with it. And that's when they didn't have qualified immunity. Now you want to give them qualified immunity, you can't sue them and say, okay, Johnson & Johnson.
Right, and then you have, I believe it's Pfizer, they created the drug Chantix, and now they're coming out 15 years later saying, oh, caused cancer, sorry. Yeah. And so I just try to tell people, you know, we can't let fear dictate our fucking reality. We have to be able to think for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I ask people, are you thinking or is the television thinking for you? Yeah. Because that's 2 different realities, you know.
That's why they call it programming.
Programming, right. You know, television, telling lies to your vision, right? You know, we've heard all the different slang and shit. And so, you know, you look at, I mean, we had a swine flu scare in the 70s. We had a swine flu scare back in, 2015? They're around. And I tell people, if you don't pay attention to history, we're going to repeat its mistakes. To sit here and rush and say, let's be a guinea pig to a vaccine when you know the company's history, you know, the big names, the big pharma names that are associated with it. I don't know if you guys talked about Bill Gates on this channel, and
we do talk about Bill Gates here and there. We try to go easy that we're on YouTube, but
yeah. So that's why
we're on YouTube. Oh shit, I forgot. Johnny will be like, "Why are we turned off?" So I was kind of like, what can I say? What can I not say? The CDC, we know about Tuskegee and what they did, and they're at the top of it all. But let's digress. Let's get off this so we don't get thrown off real quick. We talked about this, something that really just startled me when I was going over Gavin Newsom stuff, and I remember, I was like, I got to call Phoenix, because I remember you on the steps saying, when you were part of what was going on over there, like they were giving people jobs, and it was a part of community. Yeah. Gavin Newsom gave $900 million to a Chinese company for masks, almost $1 billion. Now, it's not the fact that it's a Chinese company, I'm just pointing it out. The fact is, I remember you saying, we can just give these people a job. We have a lot of housing out there that we can take up. Give them a sense of responsibility, a sense of worth. Why couldn't we have just, instead of taking that $900 million, give it to the homeless people and give them job-making masks? Could we have done something like that?
Definitely. Well, you know, at the end of the day, it's not a lack of money or resources. Obviously, we're the 5th richest, economy in the world. It's the assholes in charge. It's the powers that be. unfortunately, they treat homelessness like a business. Yeah. They want people on the streets because then you can go to these programs, and then these programs are funded by, I'll just say special interests.
Yep.
And then they get your money, and then when you're tired of the restrictions, you're back on the street, and they turn you into a revolving door.
Yeah. So they can constantly make money off. They get money also from the state, from the government, from these programs, and instead of getting into the people that are homeless, it goes into people's pockets, and it's...
Yeah. I mean, you look at all the abandoned schools, the abandoned malls, I mean, all types of shit, man. You have, even like a lot that we're staying on right now, you know how many empty lots I see with just grass and a fence? That, why don't you put some RVs up? You know what I'm saying? And there's
small houses.
There's so many solutions, and a lot of it is a mindset, because so many people are quick to say, well, you're just a bum, you're just a drug addict, you don't want it. But it's like, if you don't give people a chance to work and earn, you know what I'm saying? It's when you put people in a system of carceral housing, they're going to act like prisoners, because you would put that seed in their mind, you ain't shit, you're a bum, and you're a prisoner.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean? Whatever seed you plant in the mind, as a saying, as within, so without. So whatever you manifest in the mind is going to manifest out here in this reality. So when you constantly tell people that they're not shit and you treat them like a prisoner, they are going to have a prisoner mentality. I had an idea in the sense of, okay, let's just say you open up a park, you put some RVs, right? Base it on people's income. If they don't have an income, take some of their food stamps. If they don't have that, let them earn their keep. Yeah. There was a time where people would be a janitor and work and say, okay, here, we'll give you this room. In exchange, you do X amount of chores per week. Yeah. Little things like that. And now if you spread that to the empty housing, you spread that to, I believe we have, 3 times the amount of housing than we do homeless people out here?
Yeah.
There's no excuses. If they really gave a shit, they would do something. But they look at people like dollar signs instead of humans, and that's why we're in the situation that we're at. So.
Well, let's go get some lunch, big dog. It's great to see you. Glory, look at his shirt. This is Phoenix over here. Johnny, you want to say anything with Phoenix here?
Well, I was gonna tell the audience about this exit poll. So I'll let you know too. So their Edison Research is doing some exit polling right now, right outside this voting center here. So I'm just gonna tell you the questions and what each thing is, just for historical purposes. You know what I'm saying? Because if it comes out later that they omitted something, then we'll know. We'll have this reference, right?
Censorship and all that.
Right. I mean, we don't know, right? Are you male, and it has options male, female? Are you male or female? Are you white, black, Hispanic, Latino, Asian American, Indian, or other? How did you vote in the election to decide whether Gavin Newsom should be recalled and removed from the office of governor? Yes, no. Did not vote on the recall. Which best describes your education? You have never attended college but received no degree, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, an advanced degree, after a bachelor's degree, and then it says which age group are you, and it has 18 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 39, 40 to 44, 45 to 49. So it's just between 50 to 59, 60 to 64, 65 to 74, 75 or over. That's kind of weird. How did you vote in the election for a new governor if Gavin Newsom is removed from office? And it has did not vote in this race. It has 1, John Cox, 2, Larry Elder, 3, Kevin Faulkner, 4, Caitlyn Jenner, 5, Kevin Kiley, 6, Jacqueline McGowan, 7, Kevin Paffrath, 9, other, and it has a space there for you to put out who. And I ask you if you work full-time for pay, yes or no. Do you have any children under 18 living in a house, yes or no? Are you Hispanic or Latino descent, yes or no? Do you think Gavin Newsom is in touch with the needs and concerns of Californians like you? Yes or no?
Hell no.
Is your opinion of Larry Elder favorable or unfavorable? Unfavorable.
Yeah.
Do you think the condition of California's economy is excellent, good, not so good, poor? Poor.
I saw there's a lot of race questions in there.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm always a person that says, listen, at the end of the day, it's about people taking action. The main fight is going to be us versus the establishment.
Absolutely.
When we take, as soon as you start hearing race and politics and what religion are you, that's when the division comes in. You know what I'm saying? The word race means competition. So they give you this term race on your birth certificate, so you guys are competing amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying, by all means, be proud of your race, be proud of who you are.
Culture.
But exactly, there's a difference between, like you said, being proud of the culture and then using race to the point you're obsessed with it, and it becomes a factor of contention. You know what I'm saying? So.
Absolutely. So then it continues, says, how do you feel about California requiring that students wear masks while in school? Support or oppose?
That is a violation of people's rights.
Yeah, I kind of oppose it. Do you feel the overall cost of living in your part of California is very manageable, somewhat manageable, somewhat unmanageable, very unmanageable? I put very unmanageable.
The apartment costs like $4,000, somewhere around there, $3,000.
It's expensive. Two, at least two. Yeah. Do you consider getting the coronavirus vaccine to be more of a personal choice or a public health responsibility?
Yeah. I would say it's a personal health responsibility, because it gets to a point, if you're not sovereign of what goes into your own body, if you got a government saying you have to do this or you can't work or travel to be part of society, what the fuck are we talking about? Like that's just this is some straight up what was the shit called, 1984, man. Yeah. George Orwell and They Live and we're living a lot of these futuristic movies.
Absolutely.
And the whole thing is, I'm not really, I'll say, an anti-vaxxer. I'm just for people being able to be sovereign over their own bodies. Because if you don't have that, then what the fuck are we doing?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Which is what Nicki Minaj was doing. I don't know if you saw that. She tweeted that she's doing her research.
Yeah.
If Gavin Newsom is removed as governor, would you feel excited, optimistic, concerned, or scared? That's one of the questions. How serious of a problem for California is climate change? A very serious problem, a somewhat serious problem, not a serious problem? What's your impression of the coronavirus situation in California today? Getting better, staying the same, getting worse? No matter how you voted today.
Not to cut you off, I would say people's mindset toward it is getting worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you start to get into a culture of fear and you're starting to see, a friend of mine, he brought it up real good. He said, what they're doing with this whole vax versus unvaxxed is similar to the caste system in India, and they're basically treating the unvaxxed as untouchables. Yeah. Oh, you're a menace to us and this and that, and you can't have your freedoms. And that's dangerous. It's a little bit of segregation in a way.
Absolutely.
Too. It's getting to that dangerous sort of line.
It's a classist thing almost too, because I don't know if you saw the Met Gala. We covered a little bit of it. Basically, AOC was wearing a tax to rich dress thing. But everybody at the Met Gala, everybody that was rich, there it takes $30,000 per ticket, and the tables are $300,000 to sit at. Everybody was unmasked.
Oh, yeah.
So you had to be vaccinated, and then the workers were all masked. All the photographers and the people who were organizing and stuff, they were all masked.
Well, shit, we could take it back to George Floyd's funeral. We could take it back to when Gavin Newsom was having dinner last year. None of these motherfuckers was wearing masks. They weren't saying, so there's no consistency. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, so I don't want to spread misinformation. Wasn't it like the FDA, the CDC, a lot of them are not requiring their employees to get vaccinated? I know that was the case at one point.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard about that. Something that we would want to talk about, but we can't talk about. We are on YouTube.
Yeah. But my whole thing, just practice what you preach.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
the hypocrisy is astounding. Yeah, last things. No matter how you voted today, do you usually think of yourself as a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or something else? On most political matters, do you consider yourself liberal?
Sovereign mind is a sovereign life,
On most political matters, do you consider yourself liberal, moderate, conservative? And then the last question is, are you gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender? Yes or no? So that's what they're showing here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Boom, boom. Let me see. That's what they're asking here. Exit polling. Boom, boom. Edison Research. I'm going to check them out after, see how the results are, because I definitely put my results in there. And yeah, so that's it. We're here at the Convo Couch. Fan of the show, friend of the show, yeah. Phoenix here, showing up. We're here at the voting center at Echo Park. Echo Park's over there, the lake, big lake, still fenced off. Still a fence here. And look, just show this little park here they fenced off. So now the kids can't have fun still. Oh, good things are coming though, is what that banner says. So anyways, we're here. People are.
in their little fucking order that they passed.
People are still voting until I think 8 p.m. And then that's when the voting centers close. 7 or 8, and that's when the voting centers close. All the ballots are going to be going to the LARCC in Downey, and
Bring your camera in there this time?
I can't bring my camera because I don't know why. They just changed the rules, but it's not against the law. So, anyways, the law just says whatever the election office official says. So, anyways, we're here. I'm going to continue being on their ass with these elections because we gotta have somebody watching them. We gotta watch them. So, Jonathan America here. Yeah, absolutely. Quick message from Phoenix.
Just number one, shout out to the community, man. I've been over there on Rokfin and YouTube. Great community, you know what I'm saying, and building with open minds. And I just want to say this is the time for general strikes. This is the time to be getting land and resources because we got to save ourselves, you know what I mean? As you can see, you know, the politicians and the powers that be, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of chatting, you know. So I think general strikes and getting land and getting resources, I think that's going to be our future. So
and mutual aid.
Nice having me, though, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And mutual aid, too, yeah, definitely.
Appreciate you being here, brother. And, you know, we're going to keep going. Convo Couch out. Thank you for joining us.